Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I like to start on time and get you all out of here on time, so we know, right, when we're going through these trainings that it is going to be quick hits. So I'm Marjorie. I'm going to be leading our webinar today. So we're going to be talking about multiple vendor price lists. Okay, so a couple things with this, just right off the bat, we're talking about vendor price list. So this is who we purchase from, right? So who we buy from. Not talking about having our multiple sales pricing for customers. That would be talking about price levels or price rules. So multiple vendor price lists, tracking the cost of items from multiple vendors. Okay. So this is QuickBooks Enterprise specific. It's been available in all versions of QuickBooks Enterprise. So just as a reminder, if you've ever missed any of our classes, we do put all of these up on YouTube, YouTube/Fourlane. You can subscribe there so you get notification of any videos, anytime videos are added. I have also had some feedback that sometimes I go quickly through the training. I know it is a 30-minute thing, but if you want to go back and follow along as you're doing things in your own file, it's a great way to do that too, is to keep that video on one screen, right, while you're doing on the other screen. So there's that as well. We have over 200 videos up there. We're adding more every day. Some of them are older videos, but the concepts are still the same, right? So regardless of the year of QuickBooks that it's in, the concept still exists in the current year. So cool things. I also wanted to add just a feedback. I know I had some problems last week with the enhanced inventory rollout. Turns out that the problem is with sample files. So when I did it in my non-sample file, it rolled out just fine. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there because there was some issues last week. Okay, so as you guys know, I like to jump in product. So the items tab here, right, is just items tab in the vendor center. And add multiple entries. Let me show you how to get there. I go here to paste from Excel. And then I get into my paste from Excel area and I'm choosing vendor items, right? So not too much extra that I missed. And you guys will see all this again. So when I come into vendor A, because vendor A has no items list pricing that I've uploaded, I see nothing. If I come into vendor B, then I can see here that I have my items that I have uploaded and what their cost is. So I've uploaded parts for vendor B. All right. Again, this is just informational so far. So how do we set this up? This is where the part that we really need to see. How do we get this set up? Now on vendor B, something to notice here is that this item 1123DD652 is actually, if I go look at it on my items list, 652 on this items list, you can actually search, right? 652. It is actually a sub item of, right? So I have D and I have this part number as a sub item of D. But when I look at my add, edit, multiple price list, it does not pick up that it's a sub item of. Okay, it just puts an item name. And that is problematic because if I wanted to just edit something in here, so like let's say I wanted to edit the notes, no orders on Thursday or Friday. So edit the notes from here and say save changes. It won't pick it up because it doesn't recognize this item, because what it's looking for is a D colon. Now I can save that change, okay? So if I go into this list straight and try to edit from here, it's not the best practice to edit from here, okay? The best practice is to start at our items list. So even when we're doing an update, the best practice is to start from your items list, Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our items list and we're going to drop it into Excel. Now, the reason that this is pretty normal and okay, like I like to bring up what are problems, what are potential issues, but the reason that this is normal and okay is that most of the time when we're getting a vendor price list, they're going to give us their price list in Excel, hopefully, or we're going to give them an Excel spreadsheet for them to fill in their pricing, right? So most of the time this exchange is happening in Excel anyway, which is why I'm okay. Usually I like to stay as far away from Excel as possible. So that's why I'm okay with using Excel in this instance. So what we do is we go into our items list, we export all our items to Excel, or we could build a report that we use over and over again and export that report to Excel, right, based off of our items list. And I export this report, okay? Now this is gonna export for me all items. So it's gonna take a second. It's gonna export for me all items. And I may not need to handle all of these items, right? And when it exports it out to Excel, I don't need all of these fields. So the first thing that I'd want to do is kind of get rid of some of these fields or hide them, right? So I'm going to get rid of, I don't really need these fields. Now notice in this instance, it puts the item in the view that I need it, right? With that A colon, which A is the header, colon says, I'm about to go into a sub account or a sub item, and then the item name. So it puts it in the correct format so that when I go in and paste it into QuickBooks, it'll be right. I don't need to deal with description, update description, sales tax code. I'm not updating any of these things, right? Purchase description, none of these things. Cost is something I'm updating. Now, I'm not updating the cost if I look at the item. I'm not updating the cost from the item card. What I'm updating is on the item down here where it says alternate vendor and manage, I'm updating a specific vendor's cost or price. They call it price here. Okay, so it's not going to edit this price. If I wanted to edit this price, I would have to go into the paste from Excel and I would have to edit my items to update that price. So what I'm editing is I'm editing the vendor price. So one of the things too to know which columns you should use is to come in here in your paste from Excel and just duplicate the columns here. So I'm not using item description. I could come into customize columns and get rid of that one because I'm not going to paste in any changes to item description through here. If I'm going to be updating the vendor part number, right? So if this was an initial paste in, I probably could put in the vendor part number in here. If I'm going to be updating the lead time, but if I'm not going to be updating these fields, I don't need to add them to the Excel spreadsheet, right? So if I don't edit it, it will maintain what was already there. So that's for updates. I'm going to say in here price. It does have a preferred vendor, which I have set up at the item level, but I'm going to get rid of these extra columns and then come in and add the columns that I want to, right? So vendor part number, and it doesn't have to match exactly. I'll show you that. Lead time, notes. Now vendor type over here, it actually doesn't, it should be a drop down because when you go in to edit the item, it's talking about status. That's what this is. So status is they're our preferred vendor or they're an alternate. But it actually won't let me edit that from, like it should be, this is one of the little QuickBooks things, right? Quirky things. It should be a drop down here, but it's not. So back in my Excel spreadsheet, okay, so I'm just gonna do, 80 of them for now and get rid of all the rest of the items at the bottom of my Excel spreadsheet. Oh, well, it didn't take, okay. Because I said cut instead of delete. I go to 100-ish. Delete. There we go. Okay. Get rid of all those. And of course, I'm just putting in here non-important information. So I'm just going to put in a price of, I'm actually going to put in a price that's a little bit higher just so that we can see. Oh, and I'm not going to do these first couple of items too. Take these away. I'm going to do plus this times 1.25 because it's a little bit higher price. Copy that down. That won't let you import, right? It won't let you copy and paste formulas. So you have to always copy and do paste special values. And I can get rid of this column. So these are my new prices. The vendor part number is going to be let's just say equals, I'll just do this concatenate, right? So I'll just do the price, which is not normal for it to be the price for the vendor part number, but the price and AA123. Okay. Oops, concatenate. Oh, I didn't put it in parentheses. Nope. There we go. There we go. So price and vendor number part 123. So it just gets a funky part number in there, right? So obviously you guys would be filling this in with real information. Okay, lead time. So this is something that you want to really focus in on. Lead time, it does not give us the ability to say multiple units of measure, right? So I can't say 2 weeks. I can't say 3 days. So you have to decide when you start setting this up, what are you going to put in lead time? Are you going to put in day? You decide unit of measure from the start. 2 is 2 weeks, or 2 is 2 days. So if I decide I'm doing 2 is 2 days, and lead time is 2 weeks, I need to put in 14, not 2. Right? So I tell people the best way to set this up is in days, because what is a base unit of measure? And lead time is usually days. So even if it's 365 days, we have this lead time in here, right? So again, lead time, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and just copy down. Okay. Has to be a number in there. And then in notes, you can put in whatever notes you want. So where we've seen some clients utilize this, they'll do things like, you know, closed on Fridays. I've seen things like talk to Jeremy for any promos, right? Whoever their sales rep is over there. Get approval from Tina before doing this. So in this case, talk to Jeremy is the sales rep over at the vendor. In another case here, talk to Tina. Tina is somebody internal who has to approve that I'm okay to go and order for this from this vendor, right? Check credit status because need or max 100K, right? So they will stop our orders at $100,000. So I've seen lots of different ways of using these notes. Okay. Should say closed on Fridays. Let's copy this down. All right, so once we have this all filled in and we, you know, or hopefully the vendor has it filled in for us and we don't have to do all this extra work, right? It would be great. We always talk about, can we get other people to do data entry for us? So hopefully the vendor has filled this in. So then when I come in to my paste from Excel, so I'm going to use vendor A. I'm just going to copy this sheet. I'll just do these down. It doesn't really matter. I come in here, right click and paste. It pastes the information in here and I can say save. Okay, so it'll give me, if there are any errors, it'll tell me that, but this is now saved. Now I have not changed anything when it comes to my items list at this point. I have not changed anything in the software. It's just information that I've added in. So now when I go to my items list for 112301A, right, and I go to my manage, now I can see the lead time, the vendor part number, the notes, and when the last time I imported their vendor price list was. All right. The things that I want to make sure that we understand from this, I want to make sure, again, so if I close out of this and I come back into my vendor center and go to paste from Excel, and I go to my inventory vendor items and vendor A, notice how it removes that header item, right? So if I wanted to come in here and edit anything, it doesn't really let me edit it appropriately. Like if I wanted to change vendor part number to 123, whatever it is, and say save changes, it's not going to understand because it doesn't have that header item. So just remember that. Even though I just imported it, better to go back to the Excel spreadsheet and use that Excel spreadsheet to copy and paste, and it'll override. Okay. All right, so where do we use these things? So now that I have the vendor price list set up in there, the key to this is that this is all informational, right? This is all so we can have information. Now, if we needed to, we can build custom reports, because I get a lot of people, I want to have a something that tells me when I need to order items based on lead time. QuickBooks doesn't have that ability, right? Not yet. But the information's in there, so because the information's in there, we can build a report for you. Whether it's in QBar or in a custom report, we can build that report for you. Okay. But where in the current product can we use this? So if I go in and create a purchase order, and I choose a particular item, okay, what's going to default on the purchase order is it's going to default to what is set up at the item card level. So if I go look at my items list for this item, $5.10, preferred vendor is vendor A, that's what's going to show up on here on the purchase order. In the rate field here, so again, this is informational only. In the rate field here, I can click these little arrows. We've got these little arrows. And this is where I will see the information around when the last time I ordered from my preferred vendor was. If I ordered from any other vendor in all of history, it would show up in here. And it'll show me any vendor price list for this particular item that I have uploaded, when they were uploaded, the notes, all the things. Okay, so again, it's informational only. So the idea is, workflow-wise, I go in, I need to order this part, I call vendor A, and they say not available. Or I come in, vendor A says, yes, I have this part available, it's $15. Wait a second. I have it in the system for $5. Let me look at what's going on here. Well, hey guys, I ordered them from you 2 weeks ago, and it was $5.10. Why are we at $15 now? This day and age, with all these supply chain issues and everything, that's not quite uncommon. But normally that would be something that would make us pause, right? And say, wait a second, what's going on? So now I informationally can have it right at my fingertips. It was just 2 weeks ago when I ordered it from you guys for $5. I can also see their lead time in here if I need to have it right away, right? So vendor A is still the best lead time, but let's say they said, I'm not going to have it for 2 weeks. I can go, oh, well, I can get it from vendor B for $2, not $15, and the lead time's 2 days, okay? So informational only so that we can make decisions on who we should be ordering from, all right? Let me see if I can go into some questions here. I think that's all that I have to cover around this. So going back into our slide deck here, so we talked about informational tracking only, right? It's not driving decisions. It's not going to AI tell you that you should be ordering from vendor B or when you should order from vendor A. It's not that. It's informational only so that we can make decisions. We have it on the vendor center on the items tab. We use paste from Excel to paste it in, updates to pricing, changes, or the first time price list. And then we go to the items list in order to export to Excel and add columns that we need to add. Okay, so coming up in future courses, inventory reporting. I'm going to do that next week. Again, I had a request for that for this week, but I want to make sure that we are covering it, and so we'll hit on that next week. So what reports should we be using for inventory? As always, our formula for success here at Fourlane, we are highly focused on making sure that you get data to make decisions in your business. And so that is what we're helping people to be able to do. And so let me turn it over again, like I said, to questions. Let's see here. Is there anybody who could actually use this? Do you think you guys will implement this? If so, maybe throw up your hand. I would love to see that somebody could use this. Oh, here we go. I missed the first half of the inventory webinar, but I'd like to know how to pull the custom transaction detail report to find items. Okay, so I can go over that real quick, Wendy, in the last couple minutes here. So if we go into reports, custom reports, transaction detail. So this is answering a question from another webinar, but we go to all date ranges. We're going to total by item detail and then filter just for our inventory account from our balance sheet. And then that will give us our total value on the balance sheet by inventory part. And then at the bottom, if there are any no items, you'll see at the very bottom, I'll say no items. I don't have any in this file. That's what we're looking at. Okay. I think that's all the questions I got through. There's some questions that we answered already going through the webinar, but I hope everybody has a great week. Thank you guys so much for attending. Talk to y'all next week.